Welcome to Patience Hustle Daily. My name is Lance, and I am so happy that you're here. I really appreciate you checking out any of my content, blogs, podcasts, videos, everything. It really means a lot to me. Today, I'm going to be showing you some pictures that I recently got back that I shot with my Hasselblad 500cm. I was shooting Porta 400 film, and when I metered it, I was metering for 200 instead, so I was giving it an extra stop of light. I find that really brings out the true character of Portra 400, giving that extra stop of light, really saving the shadow details. The highlights on film retain really well overall. I got some good colors out of this, some good contrast. So let's go ahead and dive in, and we're going to take a look. So this is the first picture. It was taken around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so it wasn't the best time because I've got some flaring here because the sun was really about right up here, so it was just a really bad place. Even with the lens hood, I still had that issue. But with a little editing, I was able to make it a little bit better. I thought this one looked just pretty nice in black and white. I wanted to try that out just because it's got some really good details. And you know, I mean, look at this. Look at the rocks and stuff. It's not perfectly in focus because trying to focus a Hasselblad is really hard. It's got an 80mm lens on it, and it's just very difficult. I've got a new focus glass in it, but at that distance, it's hard to get everything exactly in focus the way you really want to, and it's just one of the challenges. The next photo here. So the first one and this one were both taken at f11 at 1/500th of a second shutter speed. And I mean, I did this one in color instead of black and white like the previous one. The flaring is actually a little bit better. I think the sun might have went behind a cloud, so that kind of filtered that a little bit more. There's still a little bit of flaring, or that might be from the chemicals in development, not 100% sure, but a lot of really good contrast. Look at the histogram, it's exposed really well. I didn't do any major tweaks to it, so that's before with no edits, and that's with these edits. So it's turned out really, really well. Super happy with it. This photo was taken around 4 p.m. I took down some notes. What I like to do is keep track of my shots. So because with film, you don't get that raw data like you do when you're shooting digital. Like when you take digital photos and you're shooting in RAW, you bring it into Lightroom, it says what focal length, it says what shutter speed, aperture, all that stuff. Shooting film, you don't get any of that, so writing it all down is really helpful. I also started writing down what time of day I was shooting and kind of what the weather conditions were like. If it was sunny, if it was cloudy, rainy, whatever. So that way I can go back and I can start figuring out what conditions look best for this film and what time of day looks better for it. You know, is there, especially when shooting in the afternoon, I'm noticing that's when I'm getting more issues with lens flaring and everything. So with this picture, it was f2.8 at 1/500th of a second. I really wanted to test out the depth of field, and it looks pretty nice. This is nice and blurred out. This is the edited version. The rocks, all this is in focus. It's really nice and sharp. Well, I shouldn't say like super sharp. I think it just barely missed focus there, but it's pretty dang close. But a lot of really good detail in these pictures. I was really happy when I got these back and scanned them in. This one was shot f2.8, 1/500th of a second. Same thing. a little bit of flaring right over here, but it's not terrible. I did miss focus on that. Again, shooting at that distance, an 80mm lens, it was really hard to get in focus. I was also using f2.8, so that's gonna cause some issues as well when trying to get everything in focus at a long distance. So this one was shot f22 at 1/8 of a second. I've got a shutter release cable and a tripod, and so that really helped with some of these longer exposures or slower exposures like this 1/8 of a second. And so that was the edited version, and just really good details again. I don't like the color of that. It's definitely off, but I could do a little bit more tweaking to this to get the trees the right color. I just haven't got around to doing that quite yet. Again here, this is number 6. This was shot at f5.6 at 1/125th of a second. I really just wanted to try and capture, there was a couple of ducks just swimming on the water, and I really wanted to freeze that in the film, so I try to get that really fast shutter speed, but unedited, edited. Now this one is my absolute favorite. So when I scanned this negative in and it came up on the screen, I literally almost cried because it was just so beautiful when I saw it. And I scanned all of these in at about, I think it was 4,800 pixels. So it's a really large file if we look at the file size. This one's like 9968 by 9872. That's a huge file. And with medium format, you can get really large scans and large prints at them. That's one of the reasons a lot of film photographers go with medium format, is because you can get these huge pictures. It's like shooting in RAW, essentially. You get so much detail. This is unedited. All I actually did was went in and cleared up these little specks, and all those are is like just little dust fragments during the developing process, which happens. And I just cleared that out. So there it is with the little specks, and then it's without. I didn't adjust the color. I didn't adjust anything on it. And it's just so perfect. So this was shot at 6 a.m. as the sunrise was coming up. Sun's coming up over here. It was super dark at 6 a.m. and it was really cold. And so this one was f5.6 at 8 seconds. It's an 8-second shutter speed. And just look at that. The water just looks like glass, and it's just got this nearly perfect reflection. The water was so calm. It's just like, it's just so beautiful. And I got the horizon just right. I got that lined up just perfect. So I had been really trying to take my time with these photos and finally get a photo that really shows off the potential of this Hasselblad. I mean, this is the camera that got slightly modified to go on the Apollo 11 mission to take photos of the moon for the very first time in history. So, I mean, it's a phenomenal camera. It was the Porsche of cameras, or the Bugatti of cameras in the 1970s. And I think this picture is so close to showing that potential. I was just so happy when I got this scanned in. Let's look at this next one here. This next one I did do some editing to. So here's the original. There's also some of this like rainbowing here, and I don't know if that is from chemicals or if the negative just got warped when it was like scanning in. I'm not sure why that's happening, but with a little bit of editing, just pulling out the color again, it's just like glass. I mean, it's just beautiful. The way I'm clearing up these little specks is actually with this spot removal tool. And what I do is you just click, and then it is just really great. I mean, it just finds a similar spot and then clones it. So this one was also at f5.6 at 8 seconds for the shutter speed. This one, f5.6, but it was at 10 seconds. I don't like it as much. It still has that really glassy effect, but I think 10 seconds was just a little bit too long, or maybe if I had done that earlier, it might have turned out even better. But with the amount of time that had passed from shot 8 to shot 9, the sun probably had come up a little bit more, and so 10 seconds was probably just a little bit too much. I try to process this one a little bit heavier to bring out as much detail and color as possible. So as you can see here, the colors that are coming up are phenomenal. And this one was shot at f5.6, but it was at 1/4 of a second. They had some of these ducks were swimming in. I thought that looked really cool. And then when it was edited, I wanted to kind of silhouette the buildings out a little bit more. Still a beautiful picture. This is f5.6 at 1/2 a second. And again, it's a really good photo. I wanted to try this one in black and white just to kind of get a different, since I've got so many of these same shot, when I was just kind of testing some things out, I wanted to see what this would look like in black and white. And I actually really like it, other than a little bit of vignette, which I could fix. I just didn't really feel like it. And this last one was f5.6 at 2 seconds. Again, I think it was just a little overexposed, and again, the amount of time from the 7th shot here to the 12th shot here, the sun was already a little bit higher up on the horizon, so 2 seconds I think was, again, probably too much for that big time frame that I was in. But I processed this one just a little bit heavier as well, just to capture as much of that as I could. I mean, the dynamic range of this film is absolutely incredible. It's not perfectly in focus, but here you can't even really tell. It's focused, I think. I try to focus it on, I think it was like at infinite focus, because the actual focus ring will go to about 50 feet, and then you've got infinite focus. And so that's why I chose f5.6, so that I would get as much of the image in focus as possible. And f5.6 on that lens is going to be really sharp. On most lenses, 5.6 to 8 is going to be really, really sharp. So I wanted to get that as sharp as I possibly could, and I'm very, very happy with it. And so there we go. Those are the 12 shots that I got from my recent photo shoot with my Hasselblad. Would love to know what you think about this. Drop a comment. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you just don't like this video at all, that's fine too. But let me know what you think of these. I seriously think this is the best one. I think it's exposed perfectly. I think the colors look perfect just the way they are. Let me know what you think. Let me know which one of those 12 were your favorite in the comments. Would love to know. And If you've got a Hasselblad or a film camera and you've got some tips for me, let me know that as well. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. One more thing, if you liked the video that you saw today, go ahead and click the subscribe button. It'd really mean a lot to me. That's all. Have a good one.